Hi everyone, welcome to Left Undone Incomplete Investigations. I'm Kathy. Nice to see you all. I wanted to just check in real quick and talk about the Delphi case, Abby and Libby, and the trial. Unfortunately, it's not being televised. So our opinions or my thoughts have to come from other creators that are there. And I am so appreciative that some of the lawyers that are there, Lawyer Lee, Andrea Burkhart, to name just two, they have been my go-to for information of what's going on in the case. So welcome to Left Undone. Stick around. I just want to talk about it for a quick second. Be right back. Hi, and welcome back. So, the Delphi case. I just wanted to pop in and find out what you guys are thinking. I put up a little survey yesterday in the community tab, and it asking you guys, you subscribers here, what you think what you would vote if you knew right now, what you would do. Guilty, not guilty. And then my next question to you, what do you think the jury's going to do? Now we know they spent yesterday and today in deliberations, and they did not come to a verdict. Today's Saturday, they brought Ricard Allen back to the courthouse because the jury wanted to look at some evidence. And apparently the evidence they wanted to look at was Rick Allen's interview from early on before the craziness happened when he went psychotic, and the video with the down the hill guys down the hill. That's what I'm understanding from the news reports I'm getting, that the jury wanted to see those two things. What do you think that was all about? Were they trying to compare the voice? Why did they want to see the video when he was sane? He made more sense then. He was pretty much like a regular old guy, like any regular guy that would be sitting there going, what? Obviously not smart enough to grab an attorney from the get-go. Just went in there to answer some questions, which, dude, I have learned after having this true crime channel, the police want you to come down to the station just to answer some questions. They can lie to you and make you think that it's just for some random thing about something else, not or about the case that they're looking into, but not that you're a suspect. They want you to help them find information about the suspect or something like that. So, moral of the story is, don't talk to them without an attorney. Or leave. They told him he could leave anytime and he could blah, 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 blah still. Although in this case, I have a feeling, which is bizarre, that interview there might actually help him if he's innocent, because it's very different than his 61 confessions. I'm going to tell you what I think. I don't think he's guilty. I think they got the wrong guy. I think the investigation was terrible. And I really think, Sammy, I really think that the pressure was on to solve this case in Delphi, Indiana. The pressure was on to solve this case in Delphi, Indiana. The case was getting old. It was getting cold. It had a lot of attention still by YouTube, podcasts, everything, the Down the Hill podcast, all of that. And I really felt like they decided, once they came across that cleared information about Rick Allen, they decided to look at him again. And whatever triggered them to do that and to go ahead and search his house and everything and to arrest him, I feel like it's their scapegoat. I feel like they were under so much. First of all, in this case in Indiana, this investigation was terrible. This judge is terrible. This whole entire process is terrible. Rights, I mean, for sure he's going to be able to appeal because his rights were, they treated him so horribly. So just based on all this stuff, he's going to be able to appeal. They took his rights away. They made him, I treated him like he was, seriously, somebody said a prisoner of war. I agree. They did not treat him like a regular person. And look at how Lori Vallow was treated. Oh my gosh. She could get her hair done for crying out loud. She'd get her hair done for crying out loud, right? So I'm just really appalled at the way they treated Rick Allen, prisoner or not. I'm appalled. I think it's wrong how he's been treated. And I do think that he was treated to be, I think they wanted him to go crazy. I really do. This is just my opinion on this whole thing, but I think they wanted him to go crazy. So I would love to know what you guys all think. I'm seeing such a divide on this between the creators that are there and the lawyers that are there. I feel like the lawyers that are there seem to be on the same page. They're looking at it through a defense attorney's point of view, and I really think that they're doing the best job there that they can do. And I appreciate their insight, their intelligence, their experience, and bringing it to us on their live streams. Andrea Burkhart and Lawyer Lee are amazing. And I think that they both have a different style, but I think that they are really explaining things very well for me to understand and for all of us to understand, hopefully. Now, I don't know what's going to happen. I really feel like this could be a hung jury, but I think it's either going to be hung or not guilty, because I don't think they proved the case beyond a reasonable doubt. I don't know about the whole van thing was weird, that he said he saw a van, and then that guy, I just think that there's a lot of really shady shit that went on with this case, and a lot of missed opportunities to really find the killer. And those two pictures, which weren't allowed, the drawings, the sketches, which weren't allowed to be shown to the jury anyway, sketches were so different that none of them looked like him to me. Now, I know that there are YouTubers that are knocking us YouTubers who believe that Rick Allen might be innocent or leaning that way. I hear it. I listened. I know we're idiots if we think he's innocent. I heard it. I heard it loud and clear. And I have not weighed in on this subject. But today I felt like, you know what? I followed this case since the beginning. I haven't followed it deeply on my channel because a lot of people are following it very intently. But I followed it as a member of the true crime community. I followed it really closely, and everything that I'm seeing in this trial makes me think that there is definitely reasonable doubt that Rick is not the right guy. I just think if there's reasonable doubt, it would be very horrible to convict him. You know, you need to convict them beyond a reasonable doubt, you know? So I don't know. I will see what happens. The jury went home today at 2:00, and they are not going to be back till Monday. So we'll keep watching. I'm watching like the rest of you. But I really feel like this case was jacked up from the beginning, and that they had pressure to solve it. And when Rick let them talk to him, they figured a way to just be like, you know what? Looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Let's just make this guy the duck. And Rick was dumb enough to talk to them. Now, I do think his voice sounds very similar to Guys Down the Hill. I do think his voice sounds very similar to Guys Down the Hill when he was on that. I found that video on his wife's, the video of him and his wife on like going across like one of those ski lift things. I found that and I compared it, and I made a video of that a long time ago when he was arrested, and I was pretty convinced that was the same guy. But hearing what I'm hearing about the trial, I don't see it. I don't feel like that bullet evidence is very accurate. The place that he says he dropped the bullet wasn't even where it was found. I don't see how this guy can overpower those two girls with witnesses around. I think he would be too scared to do it. Oh, I saw a van, so I decided not to do this to them, but then I just decided to kill him, but I took him across the creek. I don't know. I mean, I could be completely wrong, which, might happen. I could be wrong. I'm not in the courtroom. It's not televised. I don't know. I can't get the real true feeling of the witnesses and the vibe. It is interesting to me that 61 confessions came out and they didn't seem like real confessions. I don't care what other people say. A real confession doesn't sound that confused, right? I don't know. I think I'm going crazy. I just have to tell you I did it. I feel like there was some external or internal weird psychic or external pressure, the way he was being treated, and some internal instability from all the way he was being treated. And we know he already has anxiety and depression before any of this happened, when he was just a good old boy living in a little house in Indiana, working at the CVS. He has absolutely no history at 50 whatever years old. No history, no criminal history, living with his little wife and his daughter, had a daughter, raised her, nothing. I mean, he might be like a weirdo dude in other ways, but I think it'd be really bold of him for his first crime that he ever committed. I mean, okay, maybe he committed another crime somewhere and never got caught because he's that good. He doesn't seem that good. He doesn't seem that capable. I don't know. I've never met the guy. But my gut feeling after hearing all this evidence or lack of evidence is that the jury's not going to be able to convict him because there's not enough. And I get the sense that he just might not be the man, which would suck if he isn't, because there won't be justice for Abby and Libby at this point. They're not going to go find another person. Somebody got away with murder. And if he gets acquitted and he did it, then he got away with murder. If he gets acquitted and he didn't do it, then God bless his family for sticking by him and getting through this. But my actual opinion is I think they got the wrong guy. That's my opinion. That's what I'm sticking to it. I'm sticking to it. And I know there's other YouTubers that are going to be like, oh, she don't know anything. But you know what? I'm a nurse and I've got some pretty darn good critical thinking skills. And if I was on that jury, I would need more. I would need more than what I'm hearing. I would not put an innocent person away. If I had reasonable doubt, I would be like, I have reasonable doubt. I'm not going to put this guy away. And I would allow it to become a hung jury if everybody else wanted to go the other way, based on what I've heard. Now, I know other stuff too, so really it's kind of hard to comprehend the whole thing because I've seen the sketches and they haven't. I've heard the thing about the odiism, which is weird. Those branches are weird. They were laid not to cover or hide anything. That's not how you hide stuff. You would get a whole bunch more branches, like leaves and branches and tree, more and more and more, and pile them all over. You wouldn't just put like carefully laid branches. That's just fishy to me. And the odiism thing makes sense, especially the way it was treated when these guards supposedly had these patches about odiism. I don't know. I don't understand the whole odiism thing. That's why I didn't get way into this case on my channel, because it's a lot. And there's a lot of just, what? Wait, what? What? So, and it's really sad. So I really hope that they got the right guy if he gets convicted, because if not, they just destroyed another family, and Libby and Abby will never get justice. If he gets acquitted, I don't think they're going to get justice, because I think they will just go on and say, well, we had the right guy and the jury made the wrong decision. But there's just so much there that doesn't make sense to me. And they literally made this guy crazy. They basically treated him like a prisoner of war. I don't care what anybody says, they did. That's my opinion. From everything I watched and heard, they treated him like he was a rabid dog in a cage, which is not what we do with anybody. First of all, you're innocent until proven guilty in this country. They made him guilty. And you know what I really think they wanted to do with Rick Allen? I think they had pressure that they needed this case solved, and they needed it solved now. There was podcasts, YouTubers, people coming to town, scoping out the Monon High Bridge, having their YouTube channels, their podcasts, all this stuff. The town was getting all this negative attention. I mean, when you get negative attention, like there's a murderer loose in your town, it affects everything. It affects businesses, it affects the economy, it affects the housing market. They, at that point, were getting way too much pressure, or they were getting a lot of pressure to solve this case and solve it now. And in my opinion, they caved. They found their scapegoat and Rick Allen, and they made him the murderer. There were some coincidences. He was there. He put himself there that day. But when you listen to the trial and everything that the people that have given notes on the trial have said in the news, I'm like, wait, what? What? There's nothing that concretely leads me to believe that he is Bridge Guy and the murderer. Maybe it was Bridge Guy and not the murderer, but I don't think he was Bridge Guy and the murderer. And the way that some of the witnesses described him looked nothing like him. So I think that area, Indiana, it was a crappy investigation anyway. They didn't let the public know a lot of information, and they screwed up. And then they got to this point where they had so much pressure because it was becoming such a high profile case, and they had so much pressure to get it solved, to save their city, to save their asses, that they didn't have a good amount of evidence, and they brought it to trial anyway. And what I think they really were trying to do was get him. They made him crazy. They treated him like crap. I think they wanted him to himself. And then they could say, look how guilty he was. He even became a coward, and he had to go and off himself. Oh, well, case solved, case closed, dump, 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 done, case closed. And guess what? He didn't do that. So it had to go to trial. And I don't think the trial's been anything where I could say he's guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. If I was on that jury, I would be like, sorry, I don't see it. Now, granted, I'm not in the jury. I'm not in the courtroom. I'm not in the courtroom. None of us are. And we are not the jury. And we know more than the jury from what's out in the media. So our opinions are going to be biased. But everything that I'm hearing, I would not put that man behind life in prison or convict him. I think that the jury's going to come back either hung or acquit him. Anyway, that's my opinion. We'll see what happens. Hopefully we get a verdict, and hopefully praying that it's the right verdict. The right verdict. The correct verdict, that the jury does the right thing. We've seen Casey Anthony get off when she was pretty clearly guilty. We've seen all kinds of stuff. So you never know which way it's going to go. You don't know if there's any kind of bullies on the jury. I heard there's a psychologist on the jury, which I think is good. And so that's where we're at. Anyway, I'm still here. So thanks for watching Left Undone, Incomplete Investigations. I'm Kathy. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. stay safe and stay well.